All right, welcome to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogle. Glad to join us tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit about, well, when we talk about this same thing every time this part of the year, is we're going back to school. I mean, it's the middle of August, so what do? We send our kids off to school, and we put them in the hands of some very capable people, and one of the most capable people that we put them in the hands of is the head honcho himself, is Mr. Brent Holtzclaw. Brent, he's the superintendent of the Bardstown Independent Schools here in Bardstown, and Brent, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Kenny. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here and to share some things we have going on at Bardstown City Schools this year.
Absolutely. And after this big 3-month vacation you just had, which we all know you work every single day, even during that time, either wrapping up last year, preparing for next year, and all the rules and regulations that come down from up above. But at the same time, it's a little different on the first day of school, isn't it?
It is. You know, is there something unique and exciting about that first day? It doesn't matter if it was when I was 5 years old or when I am the age that I am today. It's still an exciting day, and I got an opportunity to get around to see all of our classrooms and just to see the passion that those teachers have and the excitements that children have. Being there on this first day is just really something special.
Now, so there's some changes this year? I mean, is that pretty normal? There's changes every year, or is that something that's big new this year?
You know, what we try to do every year is we try to educate our children at a very high level. Mm-hmm. And so in order to be the best, it's a very competitive market these days. For students, we try to do the best we can every single year. So we're always up in the game, and we're always finding ways. I think school systems that stay stagnant, that don't look for ways to improve, are the ones that have difficulty not only with the assessment scores, but also overall school being successful. So one of the new things that we're very excited about this year is our STEAM Academy, and let me tell you what that is. STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And we've been very fortunate. We think we have the only program in the entire state of Kentucky that's able to do this. We're being able to reach students in those areas, all 5 of those areas, in addition to the normal curriculum. This is in addition to that. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time this year. We started about 3 years ago, and we did a focus on 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. This year we've been able to extend that from our 3-year-old program all the way to the senior class. Mm-hmm. And primarily how we do that is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, most likely in that order. On Monday through Thursday, we'll actually do a pull-out once a week for identified students. These are not always gifted and talented students. These are students that show potential to perform at high levels. So we're just giving them just that little bit of extra there. Mm-hmm. On the Friday, we'll be visiting the other schools, the 3-year-old, 4-year-old program up through the 3rd grade, and then we have one of the most extensive AP programs. Mm-hmm. For a school our size. Before I was superintendent in my other life as a principal in my high school, pretty good sized high school, we're able to offer more AP classes here at Bardstown than we did there in that large high school. Really? So we're very proud of that. Yeah. And so we're reaching kids beyond the norm of the curriculum, all the way from 3-year-old to senior class. So we're very excited about this.
Yeah, I know people complain about education all the time. They'll say, well, kids are not that smart. But compared to 20 years ago, kids are far above knowledgeable about what's going on in the world. It might not be they know how to turn a screwdriver quite like somebody did when I was working in a factory years ago, but in robotics and things of that nature. Right. I mean, they seem like their mind is going more in that direction.
It really is. The last 4 out of 5 years of Bardstown High School has been selected by the U.S. News and World Report as one of the top high schools in the state of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And the reason that they get that award is because of how we educate students. Now, we like to say it starts at 3-year-old. When the high school gets recognized, we think the entire system's getting recognized. And the reason why is because what they measure, it's not just the top kids. I mean, it's always one particular school in Louisville when it comes to public schools, and then there's some private schools along the way. Well, they're able to do this because they may have in the high school I'm speaking of in Louisville has over 36 National Merit Scholars. Well, if we have one or two every year, that's a big deal for us. So they're getting kudos for educating the
already talented,
yeah,
right? You're right. I mean, you've got the community here. I mean, the demographics of our community. You accept them all.
That's right. And so what we're recognized for is how we educate all children, not only those at the top, those in the middle, but also our special needs children. Yeah. And we do a heck of a job with that.
And like you said, the feeder system all the way up. I mean, you don't start learning when you get in the 9th, 10th grade. I mean, if you're 3rd grade, you're pretty much well on your way to either success or maybe not. And
I recognize that yesterday on the first day, I began to notice it was like we hadn't stopped. Now, that's no accident. There are quality people there. Yeah. They're top notch. I put this staff up against anybody. They're hardworking. No telling how many hours were donated, if you will, this summer to prepare for yesterday. It's just amazing at what these folks put into it, and that's what makes a difference.
And all the buses run on time yesterday?
We did.
Got everybody there and everybody home?
Most importantly, we got everybody home. That's we always talk about Stephen Covey and his 7 habits, and one of those first things first, and we got to make sure when we get them there, we got to turn around and make sure we get them home.
Well, that's like I say, education is a tremendous part of what you do, but you're running almost like a little city because you got social services. You're reaching out to people that need help. You're reaching out to kids that come to school hungry. You're reaching out to kids that maybe have a family life that's they've got some struggles going on other than just sitting in the classroom.
That's exactly right. And it's the whole child that we're trying to educate these days.
So when you're looking at education dollars, I mean, and obviously I know that's a big part of the administrative of it. You got to know where to divide these dollars up and how to use them best. Somebody say, "Oh, my taxes are." What are you using my taxes for? Well,
and I think that's a very fair question, and we want to invite the public find out what we're using those taxes for. This is that time of year when we have to set that tax rate. It's not a pleasant time of year for us. We really wish our legislators were making this decision, and we weren't.
But your teachers, they're making too much money, right?
You're right. But so we invite folks to get involved in that, and be a part of understanding that. And then when you see the quality of the education that we're able to provide for children. If you think about it, one of the things that we're out there in front, we were the very first school system in 1984 to have a 4-year-old program. Now that's an investment in the future. Of course, now everyone has a 3 and a 4-year-old program, but right there's where it starts. And so, that is truly an investment. And when you put your money into children being prepared, I'm not saying that every child has to come to school at 3 years old. There's some that show up at kindergarten, and they do very well. That's fine, but there's some that really benefit from the 3 and 4-year-old program. That makes this community a better place to live in. This makes a better workforce. Recently, according to Kim Houston, we lost the possibility of a large expansion here because we didn't have a workforce that could support it. Well, this is where it comes back to. Right. Even though you're paying a school tax, and you may not be real happy about that, I'm not happy about paying taxes either. But it does provide a solid foundation for a community. It makes it a better place to live.
And even if you don't have kids of your own in school, I mean, it's, as you mentioned, it's the community. It affects everybody.
It is, and I know it's hard to see it that way, but that's the fact.
Now, I know he started school, and when I was a kid, you started school in September. Now it's 1st of August. I mean, I know it's called Yearround School in many places, but do you see that to be a big advantage where you didn't have a big gap between the last time you saw the kids to where you're seeing them now?
We're one of only 2 left that have the modified year-round calendar, and what we like about that, first we ask ourselves a question: what's the rush? What's the hurry? And so why not close that gap some? Yeah. And it doesn't, the research says it doesn't take as long to bring those children back to where they were. So to us, it's a very positive thing. It makes a more relaxing year. We start a little bit earlier, but then, there's some breaks built in along the way. There's some weekends built in. It's all about being relaxed at the end of the year. You're not worn out. Now, we almost had to go away from this. Unfortunately, the state made a change in the testing. We used to have a testing window in April. When you had that testing window and you were locked in April, well, all those days after April were days that you didn't get in before instruction. And thank goodness we have seen the light, and now they they allow us to test in the last 14 days of school. And there's a window in there that you have to test within in those last days. That makes it really nice for everyone. So.
Has there anything come down with the legislature this year that's really given you any heartache or has helped you maybe a little bit? As the legislature usually every year tries to make a few changes here and there that has an impact on our local schools.
You know, I don't think much got passed this past year. It was kind of a slow year.
That's a good thing or bad thing. We won't comment on that.
You know, I think the year before was, you know, they did make some changes, but this was a pretty slow year. We do have one other thing I'd like to share with you that's really huge, and you hit on it a while ago. You were talking about meeting the needs of students and families and parents and so forth. You know, one of the things that we experience, like every other school system, I guess in the nation, when a child feels ill and they have to leave school, perhaps they go to the nurse's station. The nurse takes a look at them and says, "That throat looks like it's pretty red. You might need to see a doctor." Yeah. So what happens there is a child leaves the school, parent comes and gets them, probably takes off work, comes and gets the child, goes down and sits in the waiting room for a while. They get seen as quickly as possible. Then they leave, and they may or may not return to school. They may or may not remember to get the note that they were at school. That they were at the doctor to bring back to school the next day. Well, we are just excited about this health clinic that we're going to be able to start this year right here on our own campus.
Oh, really?
We're partnering up with Physicians to Children. And so if a child gets sick, it'll work like this as opposed to the other way. Now, if a child is ill, they go to the nurse's station, do the same thing, take a look. Then they'll go over and see the nurse practitioner who will take care of it right there and say, "Oh, I think you're going to be fine. Here's a couple of Tylenol." Yeah. And so you can go back to class. There's no note needed. Everything's taken care of right there. Or it could be that the child really is sick and does need to go home. And I will tell you that not every family uses Physicians to Children, and that's perfectly okay. They'll just continue to do it the way that we have done it. Right. But we did learn through a survey that about 75 to 80% of our children do use Physicians to Children. I think it's going to be a very positive thing. That's a great service to provide, sure. It's there on our main campus. We're going to have a grand opening, kind of a dedication, probably sometime in late August, early September. We're still working on setting that date, but we are really excited about this opportunity.
Well, like I said, it's more of the whole child. Again, you're there. You have counselors there when things go bad, and you're there when things go good. So it's.
That's right. I wish it were that way.
But at the same time, it's the whole child in the education. Yes. You're not babysitters, but you spend probably as much time or more than some parents get the opportunity to do. So you have a big influence. Now, teachers this year now. Have a full slate of teachers that you're able to hire this year, or how's that working out?
Yes, we do. One great thing about Bardstown is not many folks, when you talk about staff, ever leave. And that's an extremely positive thing. There's not much turnover, and folks are fairly happy there. And I think we attribute that to our overall philosophy about we're going to take care of anyone that comes to the door. If it's staff, we're going to take care of them. If it's children, we're going to take care of them. If it's parents, we're going to take care of them. Here's the way we look at this. We try to look at teaching as, what if we were a business? What if we had a storefront and we had to sell a product that day? Would you let a customer leave if they weren't satisfied? And so we're looking at it a little differently, perhaps, than maybe some schools do, and maybe we did years ago. So we're doing everything we can. There is a time when not everyone leaves happy, but you don't have to leave upset, if you know what I'm saying. We're going to spend the time to try to explain to you why the decision's made or why it was like that. And we try to do everything up front as much as we can. But I think overall, that's one reason we have good staying power with our
Absolutely. Now, our school
staff.
Populations is staying about this. Do you need more facilities?
We do. Where we are right now, it's kind of hard to tell on these first couple of days on what your numbers are. When you start on a Tuesday on August the 2nd, sometimes people just, we're going to start school when the rest of the world starts school.
Hey, the state fair's now for 2 more weeks.
That's right. And so we work through that, but the numbers do look about the same as they have. And as far as building, here's what we've done. We've managed our space by taking away any any extra space. Like for example, if we had a room that was built for art, we had a room that was built for music, or built for some other related arts, those usually get taken up with classrooms, and then those folks go on a cart. That'll get you by, but that's not the best way to provide an education. So what we're hoping to do with the property that we've been able to purchase out on Templin is eventually we're going to build that 2- and 3-year-old center, and then that's going to open back up space in all the other buildings, and so we're looking forward to that.
Okay, well, you look like you're handling it everything well. Everything's going well for the first day of the school, and hopefully the first few weeks, and so everything's looking good.
Yeah, well,
the state of the Bardstown City school system's in good shape, right?
We do think so. We think so. We feel very comfortable where we are right now.
Well, we appreciate you taking. I know it's been a busy day and a busy all summer, but it's been especially a busy day coming in here today. So we appreciate you taking the time out of the day and doing this and updating us and letting us know that who's on the job and who's in charge.
Well, thank you so much, and I just want to say what a pleasure it is to come and be with you, and I want to make a little plug here too for the United Way. The work that Kenny does, I can tell you, is top notch, and the thing that I love most about United Way, I've been fortunate enough to be a little bit involved thanks to you, is how when the money is raised for United Way, it goes to so many different organizations, and most of them their very existence rely upon that. So when you give to the United Way, you're giving to a whole lot of different charities. So support United Way and Kenny Fogel.
Well, we appreciate that, and again, I think we're both on the same team for children is our future. I mean, I know that's a cliche. People say that all the time, but they are. They're the ones that are going to decide what nursing home you and I go to.
That's right.
They're the ones that's going to produce what comes across to the rest of the world. So, I do think that with a child going to school hungry or a child going to school distracted for some reason or another, any complications, if we can help out, I think, that's our duty for as parents, as administrators, whatever we are.
That's that whole child philosophy you're talking about.
It is, and I think we're well on our way, and Bardstown's a great place to be.
Sure is.
All right, well, thanks for
having me.
Appreciate you being here, and appreciate you for tuning in. We'll stick around. We got a lot more to come here on Channel 6 TV. We'll be back right after these commercials.